Listen,
Teacher.
y'all think all those people are gonna come on the in the comment section and run this video off like they did 2 years ago?
They tried it. They
They
really tried
tried it,
it.
but it's just
Y'all were
like, come on now.
defending me like
Look.
nobody's
Like, come on
And
now.
we'll continue.
Same
Okay? And we'll
period.
continue. Like, shoot. Go on about your business. I don't know. Don't bring that shit over here.
What the? Y'all need to sit down. Go have
They
several.
say
Thank
they
you.
hate me, but they watch everything I do, which is
Everything.
crazy to me.
Everything.
They say hate is a
As
form
they
of
should.
love.
Hey, Communitea. It's your girl, Blossom C. Brown, your favorite trans activist that you love to love and love to hate, your favorite trans liberal. And what's brewing, community?
This is trans solidarity.
I asked him about gay marriage.
And Curiosity with Coach Brown. So get your cups ready for Minority Report.
Hey, welcome to Minority Report. It's Auntie Carell.
It's Auntie Jarrell. And look who we have.
Look who we have!
Hey, baby.
We have
Hi, boo.
Blossom C. Brown back with us, baby.
Yeah.
How are you, my loves? I missed y'all so much.
Miss you too.
So good. Let me tell you, I still think about that hug and how we saw each other at Queerty.
I know.
And it was just a
Yes.
shock of being like, oh my, what's
Like, oh, shit!
And y'all are tall, just like me, which I gagged.
Oh, that's
Oh my God.
I ain't never
I know.
been
Wait,
called
that's the
tall.
first time Jarrell's been called tall.
But you know what? I think I had heels on though. I had heels
I think you
on.
did too.
I did have some heels
You
on.
looked fabulous.
Thanks, baby. You know, I was
Yes,
trying a little something.
It's so cool because like we're newer to a lot of these spaces. So like to go into a room and see a familiar face, it was everything. And then particularly yours, like we're like, oh shit, that's our bitch right there. That's our bitch right there. Like it was just super cool because like again, you just go in these rooms and you know it's like all these influencers and celebrities and all this stuff, whatever. And a lot of times it's like this posturing kind of thing, and we're not the most posture people. We're gonna be us. We're gonna kind of be us anywhere we gotta go. So to see your face, we're like, oh shit, Blossom!
It's like
I was so happy to see y'all that night. Y'all just don't know because I didn't really know many people there, and that was probably like my 4th or 5th time like going there.
Really?
So it was just really good to see black faces open there. No shade.
Amen.
Because I mean, some of the brown and black faces that I saw, you know, they were doing a whole other little thing, and I was just like, oh hey, and they were like, and I was like, oh.
Yep, they sure were.
Okay, but you know what? I clocked it. I said, we in LA. So I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
On brand. On brand. But I was like, but there go cousin over there though. Hey cousin,
right,
what's going on? Look.
And we need to I think you took a picture that we need to see that picture, by the way. Do you still got that picture?
Yeah, I think I do. I have to go look through my album and see.
Yes, we need to post
we
that.
sure did take a picture.
And we have to post it on this when this episode drops.
Yeah, we need to. But yeah, so opposite community, Dewan's going again this week. You know, she's booed up over there in Spain with her man, but she'll be back next week. But in the meantime, we're like, you know what? We still got to keep this episode going, these podcast episodes going, and we were so excited that Blossom accepted. And by the way, she just told us before we hopped on that she just moved yesterday. And we're like, girl, you could have told us like wait a week or two, like because moving sucks. And by the way, where did you move to?
So I moved from LA to the Bay, honey.
Hey, Bay Area. That's why, like, so obviously it's only been a day.
Mm-hmm.
Are you happy you moved already? Like, is it a different energy already?
Yeah, I'm so happy that I moved because for many months I commuted back and forth to kind of get a vibe of the city, the energy of the city, and just how I was going to feel. And I just knew the Bay was going to be right for me. And I kid you not, literally almost 9 years ago when I moved to California, when I moved to LA, something told me, like, you're going to move to the Bay. Somehow, some way, you're going to move to the Bay.
Yeah.
So LA is great and all, but the Bay is going to end up being where you will find even more success. So I finally just like the last 2 years were really challenging for me in LA. And so, you know, I felt like that time period really helped me to heal. And so after the healing has happened, I was like, you know what? Let me pack my bags. Let's move to the Bay. And here I am. Like,
There we go.
you know, I'm pretty familiar with this community already because we've kind of worked in tangent, the trans community in the Bay and in LA. They've kind of worked concurrently with each other. So
Okay.
that transition is not going to be bad, but I don't know. Like, I was really nervous, to be honest with you, because
Yeah.
like like I haven't moved to a new place in almost 9 years. You know what I mean? And
Exactly.
then it was by myself, and this time, you know, a lot of things have changed in my life.
Yes.
So
Got that man now. I know that's right.
got me a partner,
That.
who I'm just so grateful to have in my
Oh.
life.
Yeah.
You know, I love my partner so much. His name is
Yeah.
Jesse, and he's a Sagittarius. So
Okay.
you already
Okay.
know.
Now.
But
I
yeah,
love
he
it.
has been an amazing partner, and you know, I'm so grateful to share this life with him. And you know,
Oh.
just so much has shifted.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just
And they
really
say
excited and
And they say
grateful.
if you can make it through a move with your partner, you good to go.
That's it.
Because baby, it can bring out some challenges.
Okay, and we be ready for him. You already
Yeah.
know.
Period. 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 Oh, I love that. Well, I'm happy for you. And you know,
Thank
sometimes we just
you.
have to finally listen to the universe telling us, "Hey, this is temporary, but this is where you're
Yes.
supposed to be." So you're gonna get
Mm-hmm.
there one way or the other. So it's either gonna be willingly or pushing and pulling. So it's good that you be like, you know what, I had that feeling, and you're just listening, and I
Mm-hmm.
know it's gonna be successful because that's all you do. So it is what it is. But successful
You.
follows you wherever you go. But I
I
could be
just adore
trying to stop off
you.
for a second. But yeah, oh no, we adore you. Are you kidding me? Shit. And we're telling her too, like obviously we'll get into the thick of it, but we're just like telling you, I don't know how you do some of the shows and podcasts and all them people, like, because it's just like it feels like quite frankly playing in your face, like they
Mm,
using your name, using your clout and things like that
yes.
to just bring other folks that aren't really there to learn, aren't really there to grow, but to
Mm-hmm.
potentially maybe grow their brand or grow whatever this
Mm-hmm.
crazy content world is. And they know if they go on there and kind of show their ass, they'll just get more
Mm-hmm.
followers, kind of thing. So like maybe my first question is like, how do you still find the energy to do this? Because at the end of the day, we have to get the messaging out. We have to show up in these spaces, the speak what really is impacting the trans community. But then on the flip side, it's like, damn, they just drained all your energy. They stealing all the
Yes.
energy. So how
Yes.
you doing it, girl? I don't know.
Let me tell you something. A lot of prayer and protection. Because let me tell
Hey,
you something. You know, to be honest with you, I always had the understanding that I'm an underdog, that
okay,
it's going to be very challenging for me to navigate things a lot different than other people. You know,
yeah,
being a Black trans woman is already challenging enough. And so I come with the intention of me being a voice for the underdogs, right?
mm,
So just being able to insert my experience. And I noticed that I oftentimes end up being the only Black person in those spaces,
that,
which I've learned to make it benefit for me.
yeah,
And I learned to make it count for me by
yeah,
sharing my experience, by not being afraid to talk about racism and being able to talk about taking up space and talk about these issues that are affecting the trans experience. Oftentimes, I'm debating people who don't even live the trans experience, who, like you
that,
said, just want clout. They want that fame. They want more of a conservative following. Because the thing is, it's so nuanced, if I could just be honest with you,
yeah,
because oftentimes these conservative platforms have platformed me more than the liberal ones. And I'm very liberal.
yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I mean? And so it's very challenging because the benefit that I'm getting from doing all these videos or whatnot is so small. I'm not
yeah.
getting a bigger following. I would say the paycheck is getting bigger because the
Okay,
girls, like
hey,
me and the girls, we advocate for the money there. So they
yeah,
are paying us for the most part, you know, but it's so it's so challenging because oftentimes we're not going to get through to them, and I
yeah,
come in with that awareness that I'm not going to get through with them, but it's going to look good on tape for me. It's going to
yeah,
look good on my reel, on my
yep,
resume. And there are people who the content that I'm doing, it's going to attract to them. They are going to see my work and be able to now, and then after they see my work, we'll be able to have more fruitful conversations. And so I am a person that doesn't mind going into these spaces where oftentimes we're not seen, and going into these spaces to be able to insert the trans experience. And as y'all know, I get a lot of hate from it.
Yeah.
I get a lot of hate from it, but
For
the
no
reality
reason.
of it is they watch what I do. They follow me around so they can listen to the stuff that I say and then find ways to make stupid content around it. Even Black conservatives tend to do this to me. And so, honestly, I'm learning that it's just a game, and I'm learning the rules of the game, and I'm learning to debunk some of those rules of the game that tries to weaponize me, because oftentimes people are saying, "Oh," because I've heard this criticism from the liberal side. "Oh, they just want to make a fool out of you." Well, here's the thing: a lot of y'all are upset that I'm going on those platforms and I have the willpower to take on those platforms, and y'all don't. So
Ooh,
let's
that's
actually wake that
amen.
up.
Oh,
You
It's,
right.
yeah.
Because
So when
I ain't got it in me. I ain't got it
I
in me.
mean, some of them,
yeah,
some of them
because
tired and they look tired, and it shows.
yeah, it
So
takes but let me tell y'all something. It takes a lot of patience when you're debating in general. It takes a lot of patience, time, and just energy to be able to hold your composure. I would say watching The View taught me how to debate.
Okay.
so
How
you
those
got one of them
girls
little
can
spray
sit
bottles? You
there.
got one of them Whoopi Goldberg spray bottles?
Mine is a spray bottle because I should have. You,
Look.
I watched that Saturday Night Live skit. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I know that's right.
Okay.
I love it.
But yeah, like that show kind of taught me, because Sonny Austin is actually my birthday twin. We have the same
Oh,
birthday.
get out.
Oh,
The
really?
lawyer
Okay.
on the show.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that show taught me how to land my talking points in a way that is respectful
Mm.
and that is full of facts. And I try to implement that into like my debating skills. But oftentimes, again, it's just these conservative platforms. They want to try to shift things, and they do play dirty.
Yeah.
They play
1,000.
hella dirty.
Mm-hmm.
But
1,000.
they want to just create this narrative, I think, about trans people. And I'm here to tell you, you're not gonna get away with it.
Yeah.
So
Do you
yeah.
think they truly believe this, or do you think it's for their social following? Like when the
Mhm.
camera stops, are they more cordial and you're like, this is a whole brand new ass person? Or is
Mhm.
it behind the scenes like, oh no, this person's a horrible ass human being. Let me
Yeah.
get my Uber and go home.
So here's the thing, though. I think it's the reverse of what you said. Like right
Okay.
before you film, they are the sweetest, nicest people.
Mm.
Because on the last debate I did with Dr. Dav, the
Mm-hmm.
white girl who we really had a problem with, the white
Yeah. The long
conservative from
blonde.
the OC, yeah, her.
Yeah. Oh,
She
from the
was the
OC. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, she was the one conservative that came into the room with me and the girls, introduced herself,
Okay.
and everything. And something in me was just like, okay, she's just filling the room. And sure enough,
Mm.
she ended up being the most disrespectful on there by calling us
Right.
all biological men and
Yeah.
just trying to throw jabs at us after we were debunking a lot of the BS that she was saying. And
Yeah.
oftentimes that's kind of just what's happening. Like they get really upset that I'm there to debunk a lot of the BS that they're saying. And honestly, it's shocking some of the things that they say. Like we're there in real time, and so you never know what's going to come out of somebody's mouth. And I cannot tell you how um low vibrational. That's the word I always like to use.
That's a good
That
one.
some of this stuff comes out of their mouth. And for me, my intellect is up here. So I get to a point where I'm just like, almost want to kind of give up, because it's like, y'all don't even know how to have an intellectual conversation about this.
It's like, I ain't
Like,
about to argue with no
I
fool. That's
just
the one thing my dad told me. Don't argue with no fool.
don't argue with no fool. But let
Like,
me
because
tell
you
you
ain't going to
something
win.
though.
Like, they don't care if they are, like, not correct.
Exactly. They don't care. So let me benefit from that
Yeah.
fact. Let me
Yeah.
go on there and make my resume. So
Yeah.
when I pitch myself as a Black trans woman. I can show you that I've debated Dr. Phil. I've debated Pierce Morgan. I was on the Dr. Daff show. I defeated Blair White in a debate. I sure did. I said it. Like, I've done the work. Like, this is the proof of my work. But I will say, though, it did take a toll on my mental health. I'm not going to sit up here and pretend like I don't have feelings. I'm not a human. I can just sit there and just take it. It's a lot. But I think for me, I'm learning to set the intention of this is for my community and I need to be about my community.
I love that. Because I remember 2 years ago when you came on, you took a little bit of a break from social media at a point. You were like, I need to just like step back for a little bit. Like you were just like, y'all the last thing I'm doing. And I'm actually stepping away for a little bit. I remember that. So I guess like in that time of taking a break, how do you pour back into yourself? And also as your family, as your brothers, as your cousin, how can we also make sure that we're checking in with you? Because you are out here doing the work. And it's important that we also remind folks who are doing the work, how can we support you, right? Because it shouldn't always be up on to you to refill your cup. If you're going to be standing out there for the community needs to be pouring back into you as well, right? Full circle. So how do we as allies, as brothers, as sisters support you while you out here in these streets doing the work, the Lord's work at that?
You know, if I could be honest with you, the last 2 years ago, I was homeless. I was homeless and nobody knew about it. So for me, I had to go through this process of going into survival mode and figuring out what my survival mode is going to look like. I had to live at a communal living facility for like over a year. And in that time frame, I did a lot of just healing work on myself. Like I had to learn to let go of people who I thought were my friends for 5 years or more. I had to see the people who really were going to show up for me. And I think the universe put me in that position to weed out like who's going to be there for me and who's not going to be there for me, like who's going to support me and who's not. And so going through those lessons have really taught me that I need to make sure that I'm standing in the intentionality that I want to put out there. And if I could be honest with you, sometimes in these like debates and the work that I'm doing or whatnot, I always thought sometimes it's about getting a bigger following. Oh, my numbers are going to grow. Like people are going to like see me more. And that's just not the way to go. You know, I have to always be about my community and stay with my community. I think in this time frame of my life, my ego kind of got in a way where I didn't like to ask for help. So if I'm not mistaken, I think the last time I was on here, I was homeless. I was homeless when the last time I came on this show, when we were talking about Blair White and all the things at debate, I was homeless and nobody really knew, but my close friends. And so every debate that I've done, oh my God, with the exception of the first debate, I was homeless. Woo. Oh, wow. You know, the people who do support me, I try not to look at the number, meaning like how big or how small. I try my best not to measure it, is what I'm trying to say. Because those small group of people make such a big impact on me to keep going and to be strong. And so I think what I would need from my community is to just show up and just support. Just show up and watch my content. Show up and share my content. If I am fundraising, like donate, like help. I am getting ready to create things that I am not seeing represented. And I feel like the universe is taking me through this path of being a debater to create it. And so when I put it out there, all I need is for people to go to my YouTube channel, subscribe, support me. That's literally just it. And listen to the voices that the government has an effect on. I am a trans person. The government wants to take my whole identity away, but they're not going to succeed in it under a Trump administration. So I believe you should be amplifying these voices that you don't hear, and these voices that are being impacted by this administration.
Absolutely.
Period.
I'm gonna let you know right now. When you put it out there on YouTube, Instagram, I ain't on TikTok,
Yeah.
but I'll get TikTok to share it just for you, okay? Because I don't be over there on
Yes!
TikTok. I leave that for the young people, okay? But I'll,
Come on.
I'll put on some old school clothes real quick and jump on there and reshare and support in any way that I can. But I think it's also important though because even as Black gay men, right? Like we still have a privilege. And it's very easy
Mm,
within the queer community for gays and lesbians and other folks within the LGBTQI plus community to lean into a privilege that we don't realize until we see something tragic happen to someone in our trans community,
Right.
and we have to have ownership and acknowledging that bias and being proactive of not falling prey to that bias so easily, because history has told us, because they come and fight all of us, right?
that's
Oh yeah.
And
right.
if people don't wake the fuck up, it's the first stepping stone, and that's all it takes. So we can't let that happen,
Yeah.
regardless, and we should be showing up for
And the
each other
tragedy
too.
of all that too is just like it's the Black trans women that are largely the biggest part of the movement that's helping the
Hmm.
umbrella,
Yeah,
and so it's just like it's such a tragedy to not amplify these voices because these are the voices that are saving us.
yes.
You know
It's
why? Because
wild.
it's always a Black woman.
Hmm.
At the end of the day, that's a
At the end
word.
of the day. And I think
That's a
people
word.
just want to be in proximity to white supremacy because within white supremacy, there's a lot of access, there's a lot of
Yeah.
resources. And I do feel like some of our Black gay brothers do fall victim to that. But I also have to shout out my Black gay brothers in the same breath because they have been the strongest supporters
Yeah.
of me. My real true Black gay brothers, like y'all right here, like, you know what I mean? Like it's such a beautiful feeling to have that. But I will admit transphobia really does take a precedence in our community, especially the Black queer community.
Hmm.
And I'll be honest with you, it's very disappointing when we talk about non-binary people in the Black community, and all of a sudden there's this hate towards non-binary people from the Black trans girls. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And like homophobia, I'm sorry, transphobia that's coming from our Black gay brothers
Hmm.
to the Black trans girls. And so it's kind of like, these phobias and these isms are not going to move us forward as a Black community,
Hmm.
as a
No.
Black queer community. Like it's so layered down. And sometimes I struggle with having sympathy for those people who like to weaponize white supremacy against other people, mainly because they are Black too.
Hmm.
Us Black people, we can get easily brainwashed.
Everyone gets
Like,
comfortable in their slice of privilege or perceived privilege.
yeah,
Cause like Kanye said, cause you still a
exactly.
nigga. Don't get it twisted.
Exactly. And that point right there needs to be amplified because at the end of the day, you are still deemed inferior
Hmm.
to what they are about and what they want to implement. That's why I think Black conservatives are an oxymoron to begin with.
One
It's like
thousand percent.
y'all want these conservatives and these white folks to love on you and support you, and that you're going to be the outlier that they're not going to come for. But I think Latinos for Trump, and I think the blacks for Trump, all of them folks are learning a major lesson, and oh well.
Look,
So be it. Exactly. Say
So
bye to
be
your
it.
mama and your daddy.
look.
There you go. Ah,
Here's what we
punk
tried to
pop.
tell you.
Look, not me
I
being
don't know where
like,
they at either.
they had it coming. They had it. No, let me stop. Because that's
They
what
sure
your vote
did.
did. They sure did. Just saying.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
yeah.
I have I've been supporting and watching your videos, and I have honestly been finding ways to also be cognitive in how I am also debating and stuff like that as well too. Because you mentioned earlier, like people just think debating is just yelling and just going back and forth. But you right, it takes a lot of energy because a person that can truly debate isn't someone that's just making space for someone to talk. They're also processing what's being said. And if you're a real debater, you've done your homework and you have to compute. That's a technical term for some of y'all don't know. You got to compute shit in real time, right?
That's
You
just the one word of the day. Compute.
You can't. It's short though, okay? It's short. It's not one of them
Right.
long words. That's about as far as I go for me. But you can't just go in there with, I have these questions, these answers, and this is all I'm going to stick to. A person who
Right.
knows how to debate, you got to be ready. And
Yes.
and so it requires you to have a level of awareness that goes beyond just what you see on your screen. Okay. And what an algorithm is pushing towards you. You actually have to even go on the other side and see what the shit they seeing. Okay.
Mhm.
And start understanding and breaking that stuff down as well too. And so it's honestly given me a beautiful reminder that while I am going to hold people in our community, and this including like the white gays, because one of the things that I've been doing over the last year for sure, without a doubt, is checking any gay man that I see that got any transphobia. Because what we not gonna do, all y'all gotta go. I'm not messing around with anyone. Just like I'm not messing around with any, people that's black, that's homophobic. I ain't messing with no gay person that's racist, and I ain't messing with no gay person or anybody that's transphobic. We not doing it. But I've also had to make sure, because I find myself being around people and also putting myself in these situations where I have to be the ally in that space, right? Like I've been on like bachelor parties with straight men, and they have been like, so can we talk about your opinion on like trans people in sports? And I'm like, let's talk about the science, because that's what we're gonna talk about. And they're like, what we talking about? No, we're talking about science, because this is, we are talking about a person's body being transformed to match, even as an athlete, the standards. Okay.
Yeah.
Coach track and field. I don't know if y'all saw in the news this past spring, but here in Washington there was a trans athlete, a young trans woman who took second at state and running the 400. The way I'm in that stadium, one person started booing. I said, "Nope, shut it down." I'm literally up in the stadium, all the way up, being like, "Shut it down." Shut it down. Yep. We are here for these children. We're here for all these kids. If you got to say something, see me right now. And my athletic director was right there. And I was like, I don't give a flying fuck. Okay? Well, we not going to
burn it. Oh, I will burn this motherfucker down.
Right. But
play if you want to.
But I think that's, part as being an ally, but also just being a good person, is to make sure that we just don't let those slick little comments, those little moments slide. And it was so great to see her afterwards, because like literally she had a security escort with her parents. And I just want to hug you. And I just want to say to you that I see you, and wherever life takes you, I'm going to always be rooting for you, because those things matter. So community, I want y'all to start stepping up. Sharing like this stuff matters. It really matters.
Because at the end, like, I just don't get the humanity piece that gets missing in all of this. Like, it's just so mind-boggling. Because at the end of the day, even like saying that Dr. Daft thing, a lot of the foundation stuff is just saying we care about family, we care about this. Like, we don't. Like, the trans community doesn't. Like, that is so mind-boggling to me. And it's so frustrating that, like, you could say this on one hand and do something completely opposite on the other, but then not see that at the end of the day, we all want to be seen. We all want to be safe. We all want our family to love us. We all want our kids to love us. We all want to be able to eat when we want to eat and have a roof over our head. Like, how is that such a foreign thing when it comes to a select few people? Like, I don't get it. And so the humanity that gets missed in all of this is so, that I think that's what like frustrates me the most, because it's just like folks are not even looking at each other as humans anymore, and it's just like, how what did dogs. You learn along the way that's the lesson that you are taking? And then veiling this in Christianity and religion. I guarantee you, Jesus, if he was sitting next to you, he would be like, oh, that ain't what I'm saying.
Yeah. And you notice I said in that last debate with Dr. Daft on the Dr. Daft show, I was like, there's some trans people that are also Christian as well too, right? Like what are y'all really like talking about? Literally the same things that you value, we value too as trans people. But I think that, if I could just be honest with you, I think that this Trump administration has given people the permission to be bigoted openly now, to be disrespectful, to be unempathetic, and look at humanity as something that can only go for some and not for all. The meaning of humanity can only go to these certain group of people, and the other group of people can't have it.
That's
And
wild.
so for me, I feel like I'm being positioned in a place where I can shut that shit down
Yeah.
and be unapologetic about it and piss people off
As you
and be
should.
okay with that. Because as I piss people off, somehow, some way, I'm attracting their attention, as well as the people that want to support me. And so for me, sometimes I look at myself as that medium for a reason, because it's just like, you know what? I'm gonna be unapologetic.
Yeah. And
Either you
honestly,
love me or
like,
you don't.
and honestly, I'm a huge believer that it's very hard to hate people when they're in your orbit. It's very hard. Like, if you have
Yeah.
people around you, diversity around you, it's hard to really, truly, in your heart of hearts, to hate someone. They got to do something like so, like, grandiose, so horrible, so horrific, racist, transphobic, da da da. But at the end of the day, we all still kind of operate right here. And if you
Yeah.
have folks in your orbit, it's super hard to not have empathy and sympathy start to come along in your being, at least for the most people. I know there's outliers.
Yeah.
I get it. And so that's why, like, I always preach to folks, just like, stop trying to, like, monolith everything, like everything, like, just have it in the silos, because, like, there's no way to now have this empathy amongst groups, you know. And so it's I don't know. So kudos, honestly, to you, because
Thank
you might
you.
be the only person in their orbit that's a trans person. You might be the only Black trans person in their orbit. So even at minimum, going to these situations where they are draining, my hope and prayers that, like, those folks are like, you know what, it's hard for me to truly hate Blossom. I might have hated her because, like, she was maybe a figment of my imagination before, but now that she's in this room, you know what she said did kind of make a little sense. Oh shit, you know what, da da da. Oh, and she was kind of nice, and oh, she smelled good today too. Like, there's just these things once you just start having people in your orbit. So, like, community, I know sometimes it gets hard, but like, keep that diversity in your orbit, because I feel like we're just all lacking empathy and sympathy for one another in this humanity level that gets harder if you just have those folks in your orbit.
But you know, Blossom, I also want to say, though, too, continue to walk in your truth, because that's where your voice will never be deniable. They can never deny your voice, because that is your truth. That is your purpose. That's what he has made for you. And that means can't nobody take that from you but him. Right. And so that means as long as you're doing that, the amount of people that are going to just instantly just receive it, even if they don't understand it, right, they're going to receive watching someone do what they were born to do.
Ooh, yes.
And just watching that alone can get somebody to go, well, hold on now, what's going on over here?
A moment of pause,
you know, and that could be the moment right there when someone be like, damn, now hold on a minute now. And then all of a sudden, boom, it click. And that's just because you were in your purpose. It may not be the message that you may be speaking, may not be directly for them, but it's how you moving. That was also the message at the same time, because sometimes there is a message in the movement, not necessarily in the voice.
And listening to you say that reminds me of the power that I possess. And I think people are intimidated by the power that they see when they see me coming on these platforms and saying the things that need to be said. And oftentimes, y'all know what? Now that I'm thinking about this, I see a lot of the other side projecting a lot of their insecurities onto us as we are trying to debunk and debate them. I noticed that a lot of them live shitty lives, if I could just be honest with you. And it kind of shows. It kind of shows because oftentimes it's like when you look at trans women, we are living in our truth.
You're free.
We are living in our purpose.
Free.
We are free. We're living in our power. And I think people who are not trans, who have such an issue with us, can't stand it because we live unapologetically in our truth. And nothing is going to take us out. We've been here since the beginning of time. And truth be told, a lot of these folks that have such an issue with trans people love us behind the
Uh-huh.
scenes because the way
Amen.
conservative men will slide up in a DM
With the quickness.
with the
With the
quickness,
quickness.
but then you got a problem with me. Um, you got a problem with trans women playing in sports, and you got a problem with trans women being able to have the same access as y'all do.
Mm.
But you want to slide in our DMs and slide in our draws after that?
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. No.
Not enough. You need more
You,
money and you need
Eh,
more intelligence.
oh, come
eh.
on.
How
Amen.
about that?
Amen. How about that?
Amen.
Okay.
Ah.
I have a
Get your,
question too, because like
yes.
one thing that that I thought was super important on this the bridge of Dr. Daff one was just the difference or like the umbrella of gender
Mm,
affirming care. A lot of times conservatives or folks that don't understand it immediately go to surgery, immediately go to sex and all this stuff. That the umbrella is larger than that. That is a healthcare
yes.
system that they need, whether that's therapy, et cetera, et cetera. Can you break that down? And even maybe some of the folks that listen to our
Yes.
podcast maybe don't quite understand what gender affirming care means and the wide spectrum of that. That is just
Yeah.
not a siloed piece of something.
Yeah, totally. So for me, gender affirming care is basically the care that is needed for you to live the beautiful, productive life that you need to live. And for trans people, sometimes it is surgery, sometimes it is hormones, it's being able to have access to a social circle. And so when we talk about gender affirming care, there's so many moving parts in gender affirming care. Like if you are someone who feels that there is an incongruency between the sex you were born and your gender identity, that's where it starts when we talk about transitioning. It starts with gender identity, not sex. And oftentimes conservatives try to use sex and biology as their main talking points,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't want to break down the nuances of biology and sex. And so
Facts.
with gender identity, like you said, it's very broad and it's very expansive because there are some trans people that just want to transition socially and never medically transition.
Mm-hmm.
There are some trans people that want to medically transition and socially transition. And, like with the trans experience, we all go through so many different things, and every piece is correct. We do not have to fight on what the trans experience looks like. I think for so long, when we talk about gender affirming care, it's never been the conversation about who's trans and who's not. It's who gets to be the face of the trans
Mm,
experience that cis people look at. And oftentimes you'll see this war between binary trans folks and non binary trans folks. You know what I
mm-hmm,
mean? But
mm-hmm.
even when you see that war and you break down the gender affirming care, a lot of those pieces, honestly, we all share together.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I am not a non-binary person. I've never lived that experience, but I have non-binary friends. I used to be very I guess I can almost say transphobic to non-binary people because at one point, you know what I mean? And so like our experiences are so different. And in that debate, when I was talking about just gender affirming care, I just needed people to understand like it's not just about surgeries,
You're
but
right.
people want to reduce it down to just having surgeries. And it's mostly that conversation around trans youth
Right.
because in most states, you are medically an adult around 16 or 17. Like I'm from Mississippi, and I knew for a fact at 17, I was able to make my own medical decisions about my health. And that was something at first I think my mom was not okay with, but as time went along, she became okay with it. And so there's this conversation around like trans youth having surgeries at such an alarming rate at much younger rates. Well, by law, you can't do that.
Right.
Like you can get therapy, which is a very important conversation around gender affirming care because you need to make sure this is right for you. How are you feeling mentally, emotionally? What other services do you need? Like what other oh gosh, what's the word? And I used to do this work all the time. Like what other I don't know. I'll just say this. What other services do you need
Right.
along with the gender affirming care? And if this is something that's right for you, oftentimes you have to be on hormones for a whole year. You know what I mean? To make sure that this is what you want to do. And so gender affirming care can not only just be for trans people, it could be for cis people too.
That part of it.
Some cis people get surgeries, especially some cis women go get surgeries to make themselves feel whole. And that's all trans people want to do. This is not about transitioning kids. But I think a lot of right-wing propaganda influencers that are a bunch of fools and that don't want to look at the data have propagandized it. And they've run off that propaganda and have built a platform off of
And
it.
they act like they really care about kids, but we already know the facts
So
and the
dumb.
facts, and the data does not back
Yeah.
that up at all.
Because you don't
Yeah.
want
For
them
all
to
the
eat,
stuff
you
they
don't
be
want them
doing
to
to
read,
That
you don't
part.
want them to go nowhere. So
And
Mhm.
half
Yeah.
then half of them be touching on them too. So it's just like you clearly don't be caring. So let's be all the way real. So that ain't
They
the
do
issue at
not.
hand.
They do not, but I think, but you know, that conversation in that debate was really interesting because there were some things that they were saying that I could kind of see the other side of things, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because there was this part where they were talking about subsidizing it and oh, my tax dollars shouldn't subsidize this. And there was and one of the girls, Emily, was just like, if I decide to get a boob job or Botox or something like that, are you okay with your dollars paying for it? And honestly, I said yes, because guess what? That's a part of gender affirming care. Number one, if it
Yeah.
improves your mental health and keeps you alive and safe, absolutely.
And that's the
I
other
have
piece
that
that they
much
don't
that's
talk
empathy
what
too
we do
there.
much
out here in
on.
Washington. That's what we do out here in Washington. There's a lot of medical stuff that go towards families who are in low income families, for the elderly out here, for elderly medical and stuff like that. Like the people out here in Washington are very much like, hey, if I got it to give to someone else because they don't got it, then absolutely. And that's kind of to the Corel point earlier. That's just treating each other as human. Like
Yes.
if I'm good
It doesn't
and
take
you got
anything
it,
from
it sure
you.
don't.
You
And here's the crazy
ultimately
thing about it.
gain.
We benefit because if the roles happen to reverse, if I lose my job and I need some help, guess what? You got me. Or somebody else got me. Like this is a working system that's gonna help everybody. So why you
Yes.
gotta be like, oh, this is my. Y'all figure this out over here. But if we're sharing, there's enough for everybody at all
Yeah.
times.
Yeah. And I don't know where this conversation of I can have mine, but you can't have yours came from. And that showed up a lot.
That.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That really showed up a lot because I'm just kind of like, well, cis women, don't y'all get birth control? Don't y'all have access to birth control to prevent pregnancy?
Hmm?
Like you have access to that gender affirming care. Like
Exactly.
it's
It's just
just
called something different to them so they don't recognize that that's what it is.
Yeah.
correct. And they demonize trans people for wanting that same type of care. And so for me, it's ridiculous that some of these laws are trying to arrest doctors who are just trying to do their job that they took an oath in doing.
Right.
They took an
Amen.
oath to be a doctor and an oath to help those that are in medically need. You know, I just don't
But you know what? The
understand it.
people in politics took an oath too. And they some lying motherfuckers, so
Oh, you're right on that.
I think Gavin Newsom and Pete Buttigieg would be a prime example. It's very much fuck punk ass Gavin Newsom and fuck punk ass Pete Buttigieg, who threw trans people under the
You
bus
so
because they want
did.
political points because Gavin Newsom ass want to run for president.
Yep.
And to be honest with you, I don't even see Gavin Newsom and Donald Trump no different, to be quite honest with you, because Gavin Newsom saying that he thinks it's an unfair advantage for trans women to play in sports is one of the most despicable, disgusting things that you can say when there is a lot of data out there that proves that trans women do not have a competitive edge
Come
over
on now.
cis women in sports.
Come on now.
Because if that was the case, every trans woman would get first place across the board. You have
see
Leah
world records
Thomas,
falling every day. Like,
records
yeah.
falling every day. You had
Yeah.
Leah Thomas get fifth place, which means four other cis women beat her. But then
Exactly.
you have somebody who's whiny, bratty, and disgusting like Riley Gaines, in my opinion,
Mhm.
who also got fifth place, who has gotten her little 5 seconds of fame, make it such a big deal that you're sitting behind somebody who's on the Epstein files,
Oh,
signing a piece of
mm,
paper, who's accused of being a
mm,
pedophile,
mm, mm.
It's
sign this piece of paper.
I
So I think people like Riley Gaines are going to have to explain themselves
yeah.
when they come back on the
I
camera.
hate the idea. The whole trans folks and sports conversation
It pisses me
irritates
off.
the fuck out of me because there is a whole conversation without even bringing trans athletes into the conversation where there are cis people who have bigger bodies, bigger rant, like, just they are born a certain way that gives them a competitive edge over everybody else. Over everybody else.
And you know what that's called? Genetics,
Thank you.
which is also biology.
Thank you.
So when we talk about cis women who have naturally higher testosterone levels than some trans women, which is something that they can't
Mm-hmm.
help, people don't want to talk about
Nope.
that. And there's conversation of you can measure the size of a trans person's lungs and heart and their other organs is one of the most stupid, honestly, discussions that side of the aisle can
Yeah.
have.
I mean,
Like
they did it to the black
everybody is,
community for centuries.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's the same thing. They're
Yeah.
just doing it to any quote unquote minority group that they feel like they could get over on,
Mm-hmm.
and it's fucking ridiculous. Even though the data shows otherwise, out of nowhere they realize they can't read. They don't know what science is no more. Like it's so fucking mind-boggling.
Yeah.
And like when I hear that shit, I anymore like. Over the history of the podcast, maybe I've taken on a little more of the Henny and Dewan spirit,
We
Star
like
spirit,
this.
because I used to be going, okay, let me sit down. But it's just like anymore, like I can't fucking do it because like if you're just gonna argue with facts, then what am I here for? And there's nothing
yeah,
I can say that's gonna change
You
your
know
mind
why?
because you just want to
Because
be wrong. You
because you're
just
the
want to
wall.
be right.
You got to become the wall.
yes.
That should be my Halloween costume. I want to be a wall. Argue with the wall. Come argue with the wall, bitch. That's gonna be my Halloween costume. I'm gonna be a motherfucking wall. I'm like, come argue to the
I'm here
wall,
for it.
okay? Because you're absolutely right. Some people just want to talk just to talk, but they don't want to hear the data. I mean, and I also use when we also talk about sports too. I love to use actors as well too. How many actors lose weight, gain weight for roles so they can do a role to the way that it's supposed to be done as well, like that? We see people modifying their bodies when it comes to powerlifting and stuff like that as well too, to have a more competitive. We know that the science exists out there that we can our bodies literally can be transformed.
And these are the same people watching like WWE and these testosterone riddled men's and all this. So don't play with me. You talking out the side of your neck. You just like it when it's entertaining for what you wanted to be entertaining for.
Yeah.
Go sit your
Yeah.
ass down.
Yeah, and it's crazy because they're like, I think another part of the conversation is, well, why can't trans people just have their own sport? Well, there's over 510,000 athletes in the NCAA, and less than 10 of them are trans. So there's not
Exactly.
even enough trans people to be able to have our own to begin with. So that conversation to me is just so minute and stupid because it's like trans people are just really breaking through.
Yeah.
They've been breaking through for like decades now, if I could be honest with you, but they're breaking through at a point where it's causing all of this attention. And I have to admit, trans women playing in sports became something big for me, even though I've never been a trans athlete. I wasn't into sports in school, but my opinion around it has shot me up because I debated that on both Dr. Phil and Pierce Morgan. And it's interesting when you're kind of like the only one that they have platform on that those particular platforms, because oftentimes some of these trans athletes don't want to be a part of that because they believe that they don't have to fight for their humanity, but they give me praise and show me love for doing it because trans women playing in sports is a trans issue. And I also think it's kind of crazy that they don't give trans men the same flack as they do trans women playing in sports. But let me tell you what I think it is, though, because there's this conversation around trans masculine erasure. I'm not a trans man. I've never lived that experience, and I have no room to talk about anything around that because if they feel erased, then they're erased.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
also think what's happening is a lot of these conservatives, when it comes to trans men, they don't have the same vicious talking points that they do for trans women. If I could just be honest with you, they don't have any harmful rhetoric to say about a trans man, because a trans man's experience can debunk a lot of their vicious talking points against trans women. Y'all say y'all don't want men in women's restrooms. Well, trans men are men. And if you were trying to assign trans people to go in the bathroom according to their sex, their biological sex, which they talk about, it's not my saying. That means trans men would have to go in the women's restroom. Number one, making it unsafe for them. And two, y'all are actually putting men into the women's restroom that y'all are saying y'all don't want. A trans man's experience can debunk so much shit that the conservatives have said. That's why Dr. Phil will not platform trans men. That's why Piers Morgan is not going to platform trans men. But they would rather use me as a trans woman to back me in a corner on their issues, to have that gotcha moment, like Piers Morgan did about the paraplegics. And I got a lot of flack from conservative media because I said that the Paralympics and the Olympics should be put together. So it's so wrong, but I feel as trans women who are going on these platforms, we have a responsibility to talk about it. And I'm realizing where my privilege sits in that as well too. So being able to use my privilege to talk about other issues, because trans people playing in sports is not just an issue for trans women. There are other trans folks that can get in on the conversation. And I think that a lot of these platforms need to do better at platforming trans masculine folks, non-binary people, not just trans women, because I'm tired. I love making the money. I love getting my voice out there, but I'm also exhausted. And I feel like there's so much room for other trans and masculine voices and non-binary voices who should also be heard. And so I feel like I have a responsibility in that.
I'm curious, like obviously, like a lot of the narrative that's out there now in the media is just like the tragedies that occur, and there's a lot of them, rightfully so. We need to address those. But like, what situations of just like joy and resilience have like just made you smile recently? That's out there that maybe we don't see, or that maybe we have and we just haven't talked about enough, and things like that. Because I feel like we always say multiple things could occur at once. Like there could be a lot of bad shit going on, but in your day, there's actually a lot of good shit going on as well. And sometimes we need to just, put that out there. So what's the joy and resilience that's out there right now that we're missing in the trans community?
Oh my gosh. You know something? A lot of us are doing great things behind the scenes. A lot of us have nonprofits that we're running, and despite everything that's happening, they're thriving there. A lot of us are finding love. I'm someone who found love, or I should say I attracted love. And a lot of that came from doing a lot of inner work on myself, because I now know that I'm worthy of love. I'm worthy to be held, and I don't have to be somebody's secret, right? And when I understood that I deserve love, the amount of abundance that has come to me is one that I truly just cannot believe I'm still taking in good faith. And I'm just like, thank you, universe, because every single thing that I've gone through has led me to this moment of joy and resilience. And, having the support system of like my friends, my family, like y'all, my loved ones, helps me stay in that joy and resiliency, because oftentimes I get a lot of hate, and when you're reading a lot of the hate messages, it can kind of do something to your mental. But when you realize how fabulous you are, when you are standing in your purpose and living in your truth, and you are happy for other people that are also finding their guiding light, it changes your life. It changes your world. And despite this Trump administration trying to dismantle the trans community, there's a lot of power in the trans community. We're only 1% of the population, but there's so much power in the trans community that Trump is trying to stop the trans community. Trump is trying to do all of this hateful legislation against trans people, these hateful executive orders against trans people. And guess what? We're still not flinching. He sees some kind of power in the trans community. He sees some kind of resilience in the trans community. And he thinks that by trying to dismantle the trans community, which is only the 1% of the population, that he's a good president. He's a fit president, and that he's getting a lot of things done. But it does nothing. You're bullying the 1% of the population that almost don't have shit, that has to work from the ground up to build their shit.
Literally.
And the thing is, and y'all mentioned it earlier, some of our folks in the LGB community have taken some of that rhetoric that he is trying to pull against us and weaponizing it against us by being transphobic, by being xenophobic, by being anti-black, anti-brown, like and being hateful because it's popular now. It's a trend now. But I want everybody to remember, Donald Trump is not going to be president forever, and the law of karma will come back around on you. Nobody is exempt from karma, not even Donald Trump.
Nope.
Nobody. You cannot
even if it
pay
ain't on this side
karma.
of earth.
You ain't gonna be able to pay off karma, honey.
Nope.
That cold hard green cash ain't gonna be able to save your ass. And a lot of these politicians, like Pete Buttigieg and Gavin Newsom and all the rest of them, they're gonna end up catching their karma for how they have treated trans, because 2-3 years ago you did not feel that way about trans people.
That part.
Y'all ran off of that. Gavin Newsom and Pete Buttigieg ran off of that. And so now all of a sudden, y'all want to get on this bandwagon because Gavin Newsom wants to be president, and he knows that by being president, it's going to mean taking away from the trans community, demeaning the trans community a little bit, because he wants to be popular in the pockets of people that can pay to get him as president. Like, I'm not going for it. Like, as a trans activist who cares so much about her community, I cannot go for that. If I'm in a space with him, I will protest his ass down, and they are going to have to lock my ass up because I believe in the humanity and the right of trans people. And I do believe you don't have to crush one community to be able to uplift yourself into a space where you want to lead all people. You cannot be president and talk about trans people the way you do. It's very much fuck Gavin Newsom.
A president's supposed to be for all, not some.
He's supposed to be for all.
Yeah, not the few.
And I would never forgive these folks who did not vote for Kamala Harris. I would never forgive them. But you know what, though? If you look at Kamala and you see a lot of the healing work, because Kamala is also my birthday twin, too, October 20th.
Come on now.
She sure is.
Look.
I look at the healing that she's doing, and I think she should run for president again.
She at peace. She at peace.
She's doing a lot of healing. She's moisturizing, drinking her water.
Her
water. Y'all know I'm from Mississippi.
Right. I know that.
You know what?
It's incredible.
Part of me, I selfishly want that. But I don't want that for her. Because here's the thing.
Already a traumatic experience.
Here's the thing. The country don't deserve her. The country don't. We deserve her. The country, and as we talk about someone that's supposed to be president for all, some of these evil, nasty ass people don't deserve to have someone like her as a president. Because here's the thing. Because she don't care about them. She don't care about them. And while she's caring about them, they're going to do nothing but do the same thing they did to a lot of stuff they did to Obama. Because he was another person that cared about everybody. And what they do, want to make his life hell. And let me tell you, my guy he came out looking a lot older than he went going in there, okay, in them 8 years. Now, he didn't look like Joe Biden. He didn't have that Joe Biden age, okay, because, black don't crack, okay? But let me tell you, we know, because black don't crack, how much toll that took on him.
Yeah.
Sister Kamala don't need that. Sister Kamala don't need that. Yeah. She don't need that.
Yeah.
No. And if I'm being 100% honest, it's time white people to start doing a lot of this work. It can't be on our people to be trying to make this country better. White people need to start stepping up. And ain't nobody going.
Are they really going to though?
But here's the thing.
History shows they ain't going.
And they're not listening to us. So who they gonna listen to? A white person will listen to another white person before they listen to a black person, and that is history facts. So yes,
Yeah, but you know
it
what
needs
though?
to be another white person.
Yeah, but and you know what? We're starting to see a little bit of that though. There's definitely some white folk content creators who have been talking about it.
Yeah.
There was this woman, I don't know if her name was Julie, on a podcast where she was talking about that the white folks need to take their fat asses to Crackle Barrel and stop going to these Mexican restaurants where they're full of immigrants, and
That
y'all are
just
sitting
took
up
me out.
there. Y'all are sitting up there wanting them to be taken away by ICE, but you're still going up to their restaurants, eating their food, giving them business.
And
Like they're
appropriating
only
everything.
exactly, they're convenient for you when you want them
Yeah.
to be.
Mm-hmm.
And so this white woman, because I have it reposted on my Instagram, because Instagram got the little repost thing or
Yeah.
whatever. And she was really just talking about how just fed up she's how fed up she is. Like she and her family were in a Mexican restaurant. She saw all those MAGA people looking in there. And she was just like, just take your big gut ass over to Crackle Barrel. You don't deserve to enjoy culture, because what makes this country great is the cultures, the different cultures, black culture, brown culture, indigenous culture. Like we are a very culturally diverse country.
Exactly.
And
We got
so the
everybody
thing
saying
about
clock it now, and yo ass trying to clock us out of here.
exactly, and with white folks, there is no culture. So that made, when she said that, that made so much sense to me, because oftentimes these white folks have stolen from us. They borrowed the term woke from black people, right? They've borrowed these other terms from other races and other groups of people. And they've tried to make it their own. And so, it's modern day colonization, but the reality of it is we are not our ancestors. We are our ancestors' wildest dreams. And they've taken the beating for us so we would not have to. So guess what? We're going to clear house, take that shit back. And so it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, I know we're going to talk a little bit about that astrology later, but the astrology is everything is happening for a divine reason in this present time right now.
1000%. And you know what's so crazy too? A bunch of these white folks don't realize a lot of the services that they don't want to do, they don't have to start doing. And it cracks me up how white people be like, oh, the blue collar jobs, the blue collar jobs. Do you know who work in the blue collar jobs?
That.
It,
Black and
it
brown.
ain't y'all. I'll tell you that much.
Sure
It
not.
sure ain't y'all.
Sure
Because
not.
we don't know what salt or pepper look like. And we're not talking about the group.
They don't know them either.
Okay, exactly. Okay.
That's the best.
Well, we can talk about this all day, and this is why we have a podcast, because we get amazing folks like you to come on. But it's just like to provide that narrative, that other side that maybe maybe the larger white platforms aren't really getting out there, the nuance. But another thing that they don't do is kind of to get to know you just like personally and a more human level. And so we have a segment called Curiosity that we're going to just kind of get to know you. It's either like a this or that or your favorite, whatever it may be. So coming to the stage is Blossom C. Brown. What song is playing?
Oh my gosh. Danny Decaying Lemonade.
That's a good ass song. I listen to that at the gym like monthly still. That's a good ass song.
Walking through that with my heels on, because I'm 6'3" in real life.
I see
Because
it.
most people don't know that.
Baby.
I see it.
Walk through with them heels on, being 6'6".
Just clear the room. Clear
the room.
I know that's
with
right.
my energy and my essence.
That's a good ass song. That's a slept on. Danny Decayne low key is kind of slept on, but that's a low key slept on Danny Decayne song. Your dream dinner party, 3 other people, dead or alive, that you would love to just have a good just chat at a table with.
I would say Marsha P. Johnson, Sylvia Rivera, and Miss Major.
Ooh, okay.
Who's still with us?
Yes.
Yes. I would love to look at our trans trailblazers and just say thank you for leading the way for us.
Yeah.
I love that.
I love it. What would y'all be eating? Oops, sorry.
Pasta.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, pasta and oh gosh, what's that? what's some expensive dishes?
Some caviar.
Fondue or
Right,
like
yeah, like Wagyu beef and caviar and
yeah,
yeah.
caviar, like
Okay.
the expensive stuff. Because I am a firm believer. I deserve these expensive things. I've worked hard
Amen.
for it.
and do
I know
I
that's
deserve
right.
success and abundance.
and do and will.
That's right. I
And
know that's right.
yes,
What do you love most about yourself?
mm, that's a great question. I love my existence,
Ooh.
and for me, it's so deep, y'all.
Mhm.
It's so deep because I realize that I have a place in this world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
People don't always have to agree with me,
Mm-hmm.
but my existence alone is something that I cherish
Oh, that makes me teary.
because
Wow.
so many of us as trans women don't even get to make it to the age of 35.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
so it's like, I'm just grateful to be here. I'm grateful to wake up every day and do what I do. And so, shit is very deep for me. I'm a very
Yeah.
soulful person. I have a Scorpio stellium, so it's a whole like deep embedded thing for me. So
Yeah.
I would say my existence.
I love that.
I
That
want
makes
you
me
to know.
teary.
I want you to know. I love your eyes. You are so
Yeah.
Thank you.
expressive and intentional with your eye
Yeah.
contact and how you are intentional on making sure that you are saying, I see you when you're
Mm,
speaking and while someone else is speaking. And there is just something very honest and sincere in your eyes that I really,
thank
really love.
you.
Yeah.
So I just want you to know
Thank you, boo.
that.
I appreciate
Yes.
that. Oh,
Yes.
Let's see here. Netflix and chill or date night on the town.
oh, date night on the town, honey. I'm an
Yeah.
extrovert. I like to
Yeah.
go out. I like to
That's
see
that Libra energy
people.
right
Yes.
there. She said, "Look,
Yes,
you
yes.
can't tame me. What you mean?
I
Four
know that's right.
walls? No."
Right.
I love it.
Salty, spicy, or sweet.
Ooh, I kind of spicy.
Spicy.
Ooh,
Okay. What
but
about
salty comes in a second place.
okay.
I just I like a little. I like it. I like a little tang. I like a
Yeah.
little, little,
A little punch. A little punch.
little punch, a little.
Let's see here. Besides Sagittarius,
Okay.
what is the sexiest astrology sign? Because we know we know your partner's Sagittarius, so
Ooh.
that's a given.
Yes. Oh my God. That's a good question. Let me think about it for a minute.
There's only one answer.
Scorpio.
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 That's the wrong answer.
Really?
Yeah. Scorpio naturally rules sex, but they put on this sexual edge a
Oh,
little
okay.
bit.
Hmm.
And it's just like people who have a lot of Scorpio are just very just
Okay.
like
Okay.
they'll walk in a room and turn heads and be so appetizing.
Well,
Oh,
see, I'm gonna
okay
get
now.
flack. I don't fuck with Scorpios like that.
Why?
I love Scorpios as people, but
Yeah.
I also know Scorpios are very intentional in their presentation. And so when you see a
Mm.
Scorpio, you're seeing what they want you to see.
They
And
Mm.
see the
me as a
real deal.
Capricorn is I'm not here for all that. Bitch, be
Yeah.
you.
No.
Shut it down. And that's why I fuck with
Yeah.
Scorpios because I will call a Scorpio out and being like, girl, you're doing the most. I don't need all that. Just be you. And they'd be like, okay,
Yeah.
cool. So that's why I get along with Scorpios because I clock that shit real quick. I'm like, no.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
because Scorpios have to vet you. They're
Yeah.
like Virgos. They
Yep.
have to vet you first to make sure that you are somebody that they can trust. Because Scorpios don't give their trust to
No.
anybody. And when they do give their trust away, if you break that trust, they are done with
Yeah.
you. They will
Yeah.
cut you off and never look at you again.
Yeah. That's why I fuck with them because I'm the same way.
Okay.
Yeah. Come on, Cap.
Mm-hmm.
Coffee or tea?
I love tea. I
Okay.
love being, I am totally a tea girl, no pun intended.
Yes. Yes. I know that's right. Texting or calling?
Texting.
Texting. Yeah.
I got a
Yeah.
text. Yeah, I don't be wanting to talk to
But you know, that's
everybody.
because we also come from a generation where that was the only way we could communicate. Okay? I'm tired of
Yeah.
being on the phone. All right?
Yeah.
I really am.
It's like we did all them years on the phone. I'm done. I'm all right. I
Look,
don't talk
they,
to
I
my
people don't
know.
girl.
understand that I still feel trauma for having to worry about do I got enough minutes? Can I send a text message? How much
Yes.
data I got on my phone? That
That's
shit
a
still
word.
lives rent free in my head,
That's a
and I got
word.
unlimited, and I pay all the phone bills in the family, but I still
Right.
be thinking about that shit.
I
Nah,
know that's
fam,
right.
Oh
get me
my
off the
God.
What's the most red flag astrology sign?
Mm. There's two.
phone.
Okay.
I would say Virgo and Cancer. Believe it or
Okay.
not. I would say
Interesting.
Virgo and Cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sometimes those two signs like to use ulterior motives to get what they want.
Yeah.
They're very
Mm.
sweet and intentional and analytical and nurturing and all the things or whatever, but sometimes some of them, not all of them, do things because they want something in return.
Mm.
And they miss the big picture oftentimes. So
Interesting.
those are two signs that are
It's like red
big red
flag.
flag signs. No
Red
tea, no
flag.
shade. Shout out to Virgo and Cancer,
That's right.
Look,
Shout out to Beyonce.
I live in one. You ain't say no lie, so
I know that's right. Let's see here. We'll do a couple more here. If you could teleport anywhere in the world for a weekend getaway, where are you going?
I'm going to Bali.
Hey, I'm not mad at that.
I want to take advantage of the spiritual stuff that they have there because I hear they have a lot there.
Okay. Okay.
And I want to just be there and just be one with self and just like that's literally what I
Yeah.
want to be.
Yeah. So you're probably more a beach person than a mountain person?
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
totally.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with the mountains. It's just kind of
here it
like
is.
not my
Hiking,
thing.
bears,
Yeah.
mosquitoes.
Yeah,
Should I keep
bears and
going?
snow and
Like, I'm
ice.
just saying, no.
Yeah, I was
How
like,
many movies you see
I'm
about
not.
somebody dying on the beach?
Not
Yeah.
that many.
Oh yeah,
Okay, come on, they be dying in the mountains.
Yeah.
Death and despair. I'm
Oh,
good. I'm with you.
yeah. That's funny. What is your guilty pleasure reality TV show?
Oh, it has become the Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
Atlanta and Beverly Hills. Let me say that too, because Beverly Hills kind of surprised me. I was just like, oh, and what's that girl name? Paris Hilton's aunt. What's her
Oh,
name?
I see her
Richards.
face.
Kyle. Kyle.
Kyle. Yes. Yes. Yes.
I
Yes.
fucking love Kyle. I don't know why. Because I didn't know her sister was Paris Hilton's mom, Kathy
Yeah.
Hilton.
Kathy Hilton.
But
Yep.
and now that I see it, I'm like, oh, they look alike. But I
Yeah.
don't know. That show has become like a guilty pleasure. And then I got back into the Real Housewives of Atlanta
Okay.
because my girl Phaedra is back.
She's back, baby. Phaedra.
Phaedra is so
Iconic.
classy and so
I have not
shady.
watched it since it's come back, but everyone's like, well, they're saying that you could tell Phaedra's kind of working her way back. Like she's like, I ain't gonna go all the way in yet, but I'm kind of working my way in. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to check it out because I haven't watched the last maybe 2-3 years, quite frankly. Like it kind of got to a point where I was like, okay. But people are saying they're starting to enjoy it again, so we'll see. I don't know. Let's see here. We always ask this one: Beyonce or Janet?
Oh man.
I know.
I'm gonna go with Janet. She's a legend.
I get it.
She's a legend. Ooh.
I know, right? There's no wrong answer because they're fucking
No.
Janet and Beyonce.
I mean,
Because they're both great artists.
Yes.
I think Beyonce is climbing her way to be where Janet is
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, like we had to have Janet to get to Beyonce.
this is
Like,
true.
Exactly.
like there's no other way, you know. It's just the progression of how shit works, you know. And let's say here. So we said about the astrology. Okay, for Pisces, what's the Pisces? That's me, community. I'm a Pisces.
Mhm.
What's the energy for Pisces going into say like the fall right now?
Okay, going into the fall right now, Pisces really need to think more of themselves
Okay.
right now. Like Pisces love to help other people. Pisces likes to kind of like be very mutable to other like people's things. Like if something changes, Pisces is really easy to go along and just be great. But Pisces needs to take a little bit more time for themselves because Pisces naturally rules spirituality. And if a Pisces is not tapped into their spirituality, things are gonna feel off and they're going to be trying to figure out what it is, and they'll never catch it until they become one with themselves and really take time for themselves. Because Pisces opposite sign is Virgo. Virgo is the hermit. Virgo likes to be alone sometimes. Virgo knows how to shut the door.
Yeah.
Take time to themselves, analyze, and then knows when to come back out when they're ready. And Pisces has to tap into their shadow side, which is Virgo, to be able to do that. So kind of going into the fall, as the seasons change, Pisces just has to be ready for the acceptance of the new season, because usually Pisces will end a season, but then when it's a new season that comes around, Pisces sometimes can be a little hesitant and stubborn a little bit to kind of move on into that, and mutable signs are kind of like that, because they don't really like trying to figure out how to say this. They know change is there. They don't always like the change because it's kind of like, oh shit, I'm gonna have to adjust. And some, because it also depends on like your moon sign, your rising sign. And so it depends on other like aspects in your natal chart. But Pisces can be like that. And Pisces also can be, unfortunately, manipulative, gaslighting, and put up smoke screens. But the reality of it is, it's like they do that because ultimately they have to protect themselves. And so going into the fall, Pisces really has to focus more on themselves, focus on how they want to navigate these next upcoming seasons, how they can be more spiritual, how can they be more helpful to like the community that they serve. How much time they give themselves to other people, because Pisces is really horrible with boundaries. It's a very boundless sign. And so Pisces needs to learn to institute boundaries when it comes to certain people and certain things. Move it into the fall.
Okay, now. And what about Capricorn?
Capricorn is always working, too busy on the career, want to stay focused on everything. Capricorn is too busy trying to build for what's going to happen next. So kind of going into the fall, I'm sensing a lot of like teaching. Like a lot of teaching and a lot of learning, because Capricorn is very wise. Saturn naturally rules Capricorn, and so like ancient wisdom is something that they have. Oftentimes with Capricorn has to learn to be patient, because the great things about a Capricorn are going to happen later in their life. And Capricorn tends to look around and be like, why are they getting all of this and I'm not getting what they're necessarily getting? Oftentimes Capricorns are very mature. They had to be kind of grow up fast. And so kind of going into this new season, this fall season, Capricorn really is just going to be building and preparing for the winter. You know what I mean? Like they're going to be just like just building and just getting ready for the winter, because they know the winter is going to be very rocky, and Capricorn wants to stay prepared because Capricorn want to make sure that their family's good, their friends is good. They have to show face because Capricorn likes to be famous. Capricorn is the most seen sign because it sits at the top of the zodiac. Capricorn is also the father of the zodiac, and Cancer is the mother of the zodiac. So there's this level of protection and this father figure like that Capricorn is going to be doing more extra work kind of going into the fall. And also too, it's going to be important that Capricorn looks at their goals. So taking the time to look at your goals and weeding out what you've accomplished and what you would like to accomplish is going to be very, very important as well too. And also just being a little easy on just like nitpicking everything and micromanaging everything, because y'all are the worst. No tea, no shade at Capricorn. Like y'all can get very micromanaging because y'all crave perfection in a way that is satisfiable for people to understand. It's more about people being able to get what you are trying to teach them. And sometimes Capricorn will put rules into place for others that they don't sometimes follow. So Capricorn has to learn to follow the rules that they want to implement onto others. But this new season going into the fall, it's just them going to be building and just getting ready for like the winter. Capricorn is great. Capricorn is got their head up, their heart up, And I see Capricorns, I see a lot of helping people
Okay.
coming this fall. So as you're building, you're going to also be helping people and inspiring a lot of people too. So those are just kind of like some of the good things that I'm feeling coming up for like those two signs in particular. Because the
Okay.
reality of it is you're both feminine signs. Water
Yeah.
and earth are
Yeah.
feminine
Yeah. Yeah.
signs,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
air and fire are the masculine signs. So
Okay.
y'all are really
Okay.
good at being loving, nurturing, grounded, analytical, all of those things or whatnot. And so you're
Oh
just gonna be
wait.
doing the usual.
Let me tell you,
Should
Dewan,
we?
I mean, Carell, on the behalf of all
Yeah.
Capricorns, I'm gonna need you to edit this
Yes.
part out, okay? Because we don't need our business out here like this, okay? We trying to move. We over here playing chess, and she
Right.
over here giving all her equations out over here, being like, "This
Giving
ain't."
all the
Because the
equations
way
out.
I told you, I literally verbatim yesterday it was like, I'm ready for winter. Like
Winter is coming.
skipped. I was like, I'm over fall. There's so much going on over for fall. I am ready for winter.
I know that's
Child.
right. That's right. Oh, we got to do Leo for Dewan. He's not here this week, but what's
I
Leo should be getting
Oh
ready
know.
yes.
for the fall?
I know, but they just went through their solar return, so it's a new fresh year for them.
Oh, it
And so
so
kind of
is.
going into the fall, they're doing a lot of creative work because Leos are natural creatives. So they're just trying to figure out what's next. Like, what do
Okay.
I need to create next? Like, what do I want to do next? Who's going to really love me and support me the way that I need to? Because Leos take things to heart. Leo naturally rules the heart. It rules the fifth house of childhood, TV, film, podcasting, um, and other stuff as well too. And so fifth house, so Leo is going to be more like focus more on like what they want to create. Some of them are loved or getting in love. Some of them are going to be, attracting romance. I'm getting.
Yep.
So, so
Andy.
it's a very it's a very interesting time for Leos, especially like this solar return. Because I'm trying to see. Um, yeah, because right now the sun is at 27 degrees. So a lot of stuff with Leos going into the fall, it's fated. It's meant to happen. And so a lot of Leos need to understand that whatever happens to them in these next 3 months of Libra season, Scorpio season, and Sagittarius season, everything that happens to them is going to be fated, and they just have to have the courage and the strength to move on that and not question things that are going to happen for them for the most part. I do think Leos may find themselves clashing a little bit more with folks. That's kind of the only thing because they're egotistical people. No tea, no shade. We love them. My dad's a Leo. But it's giving more. There could be like a clash of the heart. So there's gonna probably be a lot of conflict for them, but they'll navigate it in a way where it's healthy, it's meaningful, and they are big at just learning and
Okay.
just taking that in. And so it's gonna be an interesting time for Leo. Leo ain't gonna be with the bullshit this year coming up. Because there's a lot of astrology stuff going on there. And so Leos are definitely going to have their head on straight, but love, their creativity, and just them operating in a space of intentionality is going to be something that I'm really seeing for Leos going into this fall
I
season.
can't wait for
Love
Dewan
it.
to hear
I
this
love
because
it.
you said
I know, right?
intentionality, and he literally said this is his year of yes. He
It
literally
is
said
his
this
year.
is his year of yes.
Uh-huh.
So the fact that you
Yeah.
literally Dewan gonna be sitting here being like,
Y'all already
let me
know.
call
Y'all
Blossom
know I
real
did the
quick. Let me call
And he
Blossom.
loves that word of intentionality. He loves
Yep.
that word. So
Mm-hmm.
work.
yeah, that makes sense.
Yes.
That makes sense.
But you know what? I got one question for y'all, though.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It was a surprise question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So with this whole thing around gay marriage, I knew when I went to this conference in South Africa about a decade ago, the conversation around gay marriage started then, right? But some of our black queer brothers, it wasn't a priority to them like it was the white queers, gay marriage.
Mm-hmm.
So with gay marriage coming back around now, like how are y'all feeling about this as black queer men? Because I think there's some nuance or cognitive dissonance that people are not getting. And I'm just curious for my understanding because I really wanted to ask y'all this. And
Mhm.
I know I surprised y'all with
You
this.
I
I
know,
know.
did
I
it
you
on
appreciate
purpose.
it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let
So
um
Carell go.
how are y'all
I'm gonna
feeling
let
about
Carell
that?
go first because he's the married one.
Okay. Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
it's interesting because like I don't know, like, so before I even got married, like, marriage was never something that was truly on my mind because I it might have been something that I just never allowed myself to think on too deeply because I didn't think it was going to be possible. Not even because it wasn't legal at the time, but I didn't know if I was ever going to be able to become fully out. I didn't know, like, there was just a lot of stuff that I didn't know if I was going to ever allow myself to be, quite frankly.
Mm.
So I never, and people are like, really, like, not for a split. I never really allowed my brain to go there because it was going to cause so much pain. Quite frankly, I've been like, okay, I got to deal with myself. But now that I'm married and things like that, it is frustrating because, hey, then somebody's gonna have to owe me some damn money first. If you gonna take this shit up, then you owe me some damn money because we spent some damn money to get married, ho. So that's A. And then B, it's just like, why? Like, what's the point? Like, what are you, like, what's the intention? What are you trying to prove? Okay, you get rid of this. What did you prove? That hate wins now? Is that what you're trying to prove? Because we were love, all this love, 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 love. Yeah, it's the hate that's trying to tear apart. Like, that's so backwards to me. So I don't get the intentionality behind it. I don't get what they're trying to prove. It's not gonna prove shit. It's not like we not like, okay, we can't be married. Well, I will still be fucking my husband. Like, so like,
And
what
still
what
calling
what
him your
what are you?
husband, okay?
Is, you know, and so exactly, he's still gonna call him like. So it's just like I just don't get the intentionality behind it. So it's
Mm-hmm.
super bizarre, and I think it's just like people proving they could do shit. Cool, you proved it.
Yeah.
Now what? Now what? We still
That
here.
part.
I'm still in love. I'm still calling him my husband. Now what? And so that's the piece that I'm just like, okay, like, it's ridiculous. You're just wasting time and money. And honestly, it's a ploy to kind of distract us again from what they really doing behind the scenes and
The
making
Epstein
billionaires
files.
richer and things like that. So it's just like the Epstein file. So it's just like, it's just it's annoying more than anything. It's annoying
Mm-hmm.
and irritating because I don't think they truly care. They just know it's a distraction ploy and just to try to figure out that they could be a bully against someone else. And
Mm-hmm.
they probably want to get married to a dude down the street anyway. So it's them fighting their damn self in the mirror. You
Come
ain't
on
proving
now.
shit to me.
Come on
You
now.
ain't proving shit to me.
I heard
But
that.
it's frustrating, and I think there is something cool about being married and just being able to say my husband and things like that. Um, that does maybe mean a little something slightly deeper than just saying my partner and things like that. Even though, like, all of it, as long as it's grounded in love, I'm here for it. And there's a lot of folks that don't want to get married, so it is what it is. But
Yeah.
but
Yep.
I it's annoying. It's annoying.
Gotcha, boo. I gotcha.
I think for me, I always grew up as a kid wanting something I never saw, which is a health relationship, a healthy married relationship. That was something that I just never got to see. The longest relationship that I know in my family is literally my grandparents, and even they had their issue with the whole nother child being born into the whole thing and everything, right? So I've never gotten to see a healthy relationship like that that made me want marriage, and I always chased it for some reason. I think that's because of things like TV, but then becoming an adult and then realizing how much work it takes for a
That part too.
relationship to work,
Yeah.
right? Now imagine finding someone that is worth doing the work for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody can do that, okay?
Mm-mm.
Mm-hmm.
And
And straight people don't show that they can't do it.
well, and I was just about to say because I know plenty of people who are married, but let me tell you, ain't faithful.
Ooh.
Ain't in love.
Okay,
Don't care about their
okay.
well-being.
So
Don't, like, yeah.
so my question is like, I want to know what is marriage to them at the end of the day. Because
Mm-hmm.
if
That's
if
a
if
word.
your argument is that certain people should be married, then I want you to define to me what marriage is beyond trying to say it's between a man and a woman. Okay?
That.
Because even men and women who are married aren't meeting their marriage vows. what you perform between God, whoever you believe in, and the people who then flew and came to see you, do you with your partner or whoever it is, right? So the amount of people that I've seen break those vows that are also in straight relationships got me questioning.
Can't say shit to me.
So then with that, because I'm over here, because we good, and I've been with my partner longer than some of y'all have been married. Actually, I know a couple of people who married 2 times in the 9 years I've been with my man.
Amen.
So I just want to know, what does marriage mean to you? Because if what marriage means to you don't mean what marriage means to me, y'all can have it over there. That's still gonna be my husband. That's gonna still be my man, and I'm gonna love that person how I intend to rest my life, because that's what marriage is supposed to be.
That's right.
You know. Now, the only part that really upsets me is I would love to retain the right to be able to be in that room if anything was to happen to my partner. Because what I don't want
that's important.
is to be turned away.
That part.
Because
I'm burning this motherfucker down.
Oh, baby, it's a
I'm
wrap.
burning this motherfucker down.
Yes.
Wrap.
Get the fuck out my way.
It's a wrap.
Yes.
It's a wrap. It's over. It's over. That would be literally the only one reason why I still want to fight for it, because I want to make sure that if anything happened to me, he already know. We actually talked about it 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
We were updating each other. Oh, okay. Do you want to be cremated? No. You want to be there?
Yeah.
You want your body over here? You want to go back to Europe? We talked 2 weeks ago. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Just in case something happened, we know what each other needs. My family don't know. His family don't know. Because we are our family.
Yeah. Shout out to NYC Gay Dad. I'm not sure if you follow him. Awesome guy, by the way. And we've been trying to get him on here. We gotta get you on here, boo.
We're manifesting it.
But he just put out a piece where, because like his prior partner died, and it took him like a year to get even like the wedding band back and things, like, because I guess did they get married, or they were about to get married and he passed or something like that? He had a heart attack. And so like the shit that he had to go through to just even be able to get like the wedding band that his partner had, and the financial gain, like at least to pay for the funerals, like all this stuff. It's stuff like that's key. And Jerome, you hit on it perfectly. It's just like the conversations of like, if I die, this. That is a lot easier when the country legally sees it as binding.
Yeah.
For good and for worse, quite frankly. I mean, there's stuff too that they might come after you for taxes and shit, whatever it may be. But at the end of the day, the legality to make it easier to pay respects to someone you loved and spent that much time with, and for them to try to take that piece away is, I agree, very infuriating. It, like, you gotta talk to Corey. Corey's a 0 to 100 human being, burn it all down. He don't give a fuck. Like, he don't care who. He's a Cancer. He's like, I don't care. I don't give a damn. But it's huge for him. Like, and it was one thing, like when old boy got into office, it was something because his brother and him don't see eye to eye. I don't want to put all their business out there. But that's one of the first things he told his brother. And his brother's like, oh, that ain't ever going to happen. Da, 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 da. And so Corey literally was just talking to him the other day. And he like, see, this shit is happening. The shit that you said wouldn't happen. And so for him, it's huge. Like, it's huge for me, but for him, he will burn this mother down.
And let me tell you, like, I love my in-laws. I love all of my brothers. I love my brothers-in-law. I love his family. But the way that it is on site, if we have any issues, if something happens to my man, I'm not the other person. I'm not his friend. I was there 24/7, 365. Okay? We're not about to discount any of that. And I love them down, but they don't know him like I know him. Period.
I know that's right.
I love y'all for answering that question. I was like, let me throw something back to them on there on the
I
shot.
love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah.
Look,
Yeah.
people don't
But,
know. People know. I'll fight about my man. I don't care. I
Right.
don't play.
Yeah, I don't fight about a lot of shit, but don't play with me.
I do.
That's the thing. At the end of the day, don't play with me. Like, don't bring that out of me because I don't want to do that.
See, I do.
Really genuinely don't.
That should bring me happiness. I don't know why.
But play with me if you want to.
I got tons of stupid prizes waiting for people over here. So go ahead and play these stupid ass games. I got your stupid ass
I love
prize.
y'all.
Baby. But all right, door number 1. Right. Smoke.
You want to play Let's Make a Deal? I got a deal for your ass.
Baby.
Good luck.
Okay.
Blossom, tell them where they can find you. Tell them where they can show up to support you, like the YouTube channel, all of it. Just let them know where they can come and show up and show out.
Yeah. So I have like 2 of everything. So I have 2 YouTube channels. Tarot Astrology with Coach Blossom is my spiritual page. Blossom C. Brown. Blossom C. Brown Trans Politics is my commentary YouTube page. I'm on TikTok, Transliberal Blossom C. Brown. Coach Blossom C. Brown is my spiritual TikTok. And I'm on Instagram, Blossom C. Brown. Can't miss me. And my spiritual Instagram page is Tell Off Blossom.
Yeah,
that's right. I don't know how you're doing 2 of everything.
2, okay?
That's a lot of work, but it's a lot of great content. So community, please show out and support her. All the content that she puts out there is amazing. But again, she told us earlier how to show up and for her. So let's do that. Please. Let's see here. I almost said Duan. Jarrell, anything on your mind, man?
Nah, I don't got nothing. I'm
shout
good.
out. Did we say shout out to Nicole Collier?
No.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Shout out to Nicole Collier real quick.
Shout out, girl. Thank you for all you do.
Like we talked about earlier, look, once again, Black women doing
leading the way.
That's why, again, Kamala don't need to do nothing. We look, and Kamala Calder too was like, "Sister, I see you. You are inspiring the people. You are motivating people to get up and to fight the fight." And she did, because now I'm like, well, let me get my ass up. What I'm gonna do? Right? What I'm gonna do?
I know. We said last year we was taking 2025 up. I'm like, okay.
Now that was you and Dewan.
I
just said I have the fighting spirit, so you I'm the energy. Look, just keep going.
It's time to stretch.
What we doing?
Get back up.
Let people how you wake up. Some people wake up like this. I wake up like, where we going?
Swinging. like the Mortal Kombat Tekken and some shit. Well, community, hopefully you're safe and sound out there. We know a lot of kids getting back into school and all that good stuff. Hopefully, you're enjoying your last parts of summer. And until next week, wash your hands, your legs, and your ass, and we will see you then. Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.